What are the different types of accounts in accounting? What is an asset? I'm sure you've heard of the term before.
An asset is anything that adds value, and no, guys, it is not that type of asset.
There are two types of assets. So one of the types of assets are current assets. These consist of cash, accounts receivable, inventory, short-term investments, etc. You know what I mean? And then the other type of asset is non-current assets. These consist of intangible assets like patents, trademarks, the PPE, which is property, plant, and equipment, long-term investments, etc. The main difference between current assets and non-current assets is the fact that current assets is the stuff that's happening within the next 12 months. What is liability? Liabilities are literally just the IOUs of business. It is the stuff you owe other people. There are two types of liability accounts. We have current and non-current. Current accounts consist of accounts payable, short-term debt, accrued liabilities, etc. These current assets are within the 12-month range. It means that it is 12 months or less. Now, non-current, on the other hand, could be long-term obligations, deferred tax liabilities, long-term debt, etc. What is owner's equity? Owner's equity, according to ChatGPT, mind you, is the residual interest in a business's assets after deducting its liabilities, representing the ownership stake or claim of the owner or the shareholders. That literally just means it's what's left over after the bills are paid. So there are two types of owner's equities accounts, which are common stock, which is the ownership held by shareholders of the company. And then you also have retained earnings. This is accumulated profits or losses retained within the company. What is a revenue account? These are literally the accounts that represent the money made in the daily operating activities. Think like your sales account or your revenue account. It's just the money that you've made. On the flip side, what's an expense account? This is legit just the cost to function for the company. So expenses accounts. Who is she? What is she? So there are two types of expense accounts, which typically consist of COGS, which is cost of goods sold, but COGS is basically the costs that go into making a product. Now, the other type of expense account is operating expenses. This is the cost for the company operations. Think like rent, salary, utilities, marketing, etc. Operating expenses are literally just what it takes for your company to function. Cost of goods sold in a minute. Cost of goods sold is where you find how much it costs you to make said product. Long story short, you need to account for everything. Now, the formula for COGS is equal to opening inventory plus purchases minus costing inventory. Now, let's look at this little cash flow chart that kind of really explains what exactly is cost of goods sold and how to get to it. So pretty much you're going to start out with your raw materials used, and to find that, you're going to take your beginning balance. You're going to add the beginning balance of raw materials used to the purchases made that year, and then you are going to subtract your ending balance, and that will get you the direct material, which is pretty much raw materials used. It's just the direct material that was used in that quarter. And so then you're going to take that direct material and you're going to move it on over to the work in progress account, which then you're going to add the beginning balance plus the direct material plus the direct labor plus the manufactured overhead. And then you're going to subtract it from the ending balance, and this gets you costs of goods manufactured. And this is from the work in progress, and you're going to transfer cost of goods manufactured from the work in progress chart all the way to the finished goods chart. And then you're going to add the beginning balance plus the cost of goods manufactured minus the ending balance, and this will get you COGS, which is cost of goods sold. It'll be transferred over into the little cost of goods sold account, which pretty much you'll have add it to the beginning balance plus COGS minus the ending balance. And voila! Cost of goods sold for the quarter. Super cute. We love her. What is a contra account? A contra account is an account used to offset another account. It's legit just depreciation accounts. So let's think of this example. Think Cher bought a boutique a minute ago. The building over time is bound to decrease in price, right? This is where a contra account comes in. Over time, the building loses value and therefore is going through this thing that's called depreciation. Basically, you have to account for this. This is straight line depreciation, by the way, because there are some other types of depreciation. Pretty much what's happening is, let's say the original price of the boutique was $100,000. Sweet slay, she bought it for $100,000, big win, you know what I mean? And then let's say that it is depreciated $20,000 in the past year. And so the net book value at the end of the year would be $80,000, because you would take the $100,000 minus the $20,000 for the past year. And so at the end of the year, the new value of the building is $80,000. So there are these things called miscellaneous accounts, and a good example of a miscellaneous account are gains and loss accounts. Accounts that are used to track the gains and losses on transactions. Think like mummy muscle gains. Let's do a little example problem. Let's say Viola recently sold her world-class soccer ball. The original value was $500, but she was able to sell it for $1,000, basically meaning she got a gain of $500. What is an income expense account? So an income expense account is broken up into two accounts. One is interest and income expense, which these represent the interest earned or paid on loans. That's the type of thing that you're representing there. And then the other is tax expense accounts, which are pretty much just tax obligations, and these both fall under income expense accounts. Big slide. If you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comments below.